Why Liam Lawson will never drive for a top 3 F1 team, where motorsport meets mayhem. Subscribe now for your weekly dose of chaos, controversy, and brutally honest takes. Let's not sugarcoat it. Liam Lawson's dream of one day driving for Red Bull, Ferrari, or McLaren is about as likely as a GP2 engine-winning Monaco. He's the poster child for hype gone stale, a cautionary tale of what happens when you get your golden shot and promptly drive it into the gravel. And we're not here to coddle. We're here to unpack with all the glorious sarcasm and brutal honesty you've come to expect from F1 dramas. The Red Bull debacle, when you fumble the bag, twice. Lawson clawed his way through the Red Bull Junior program like every eager protege, eyes on the prize, helmet polished. The program that gave us Verstappen, Vettel, and, well, a graveyard of broken careers. Lawson's moment came in 2023 as a super sub for AlphaTauri and later again in 2025. Finally promoted to the Red Bull A team alongside Max Verstappen. And in what can only be described as a live demonstration of what not to do when given a dream seat, Lawson delivered an F2 level meltdown. 2 races, just 2. Australia! Spun out like it was a Thursday afternoon kart session. China! Qualified dead last and limped home in 12th only because the midfield imploded. It wasn't just bad. It was get him out of here before the PR team quits bad. Within 2 races, Red Bull booted him back to Racing Bulls and called Yuki Tsunoda back like an ex who suddenly started looking pretty good. Red Bull doesn't do second chances. Ask Pierre Gasly. Ask Alex Albon. Lawson's shot wasn't just a missed opportunity. It was a public execution. Replaced by Yuki Tsunoda. Yes, that Yuki. Let's be fair. Yuki Tsunoda is no joke anymore. But when you're being replaced by the guy who spent 3 seasons being the paddock's comedic relief, it's not a great look. Red Bull didn't just demote Lawson, they basically broadcasted that they'd rather reheat leftovers than eat whatever fresh disaster he was serving. And when Tsunoda comes in and instantly looks sharper, more aggressive, and more composed than Lawson ever did in that RB21, the writing's on the garage wall. Red Bull's second seat has been a meat grinder since 2019, and Lawson proved he wasn't filet mignon. He was mince. No room at Ferrari or McLaren either. So, maybe you're thinking, okay, Red Bull was a bad fit. What about Ferrari or McLaren? Hilarious. Ferrari currently runs Charles Leclerc, a Monegasque prince with media-trained cheekbones, and Lewis Hamilton, a global icon, who has more wins than Lawson, has completed races. Neither of them is giving up their seat anytime soon. Not for a guy who had 2 DNFs and a grumpy radio call. And McLaren? Forget it. Norris just pulled a constructor's masterclass, and Piastri is the Aussie wunderkind who actually delivers. Lawson's biggest contribution in comparison? A middle finger to Perez in Mexico and a whole lot of post-session excuses. The harsh truth is, top teams aren't playgrounds. They're cutthroat, data-obsessed, precision-driven operations. They don't take flyers on guys with inconsistency and attitude problems. They barely have time for race-winning drivers who underperform once. Lawson's window slammed shut before he even got to adjust his seat. Aggressive style or just a liability? Lawson came into F1 with a reputation. Fearless, gutsy, full send. That's cute. Until it becomes reckless, erratic, and outright dangerous. His fans praised his no-nonsense style, but top teams saw something else. A driver with poor adaptability and poor judgment under pressure. Let's revisit the infamous 0.720 seconds qualifying gap to Verstappen in Shanghai. That's not a learning curve, that's a full-blown canyon. Add to that the frequent lockups, outbursts, and the now infamous Mexico meltdown, and you've got a profile more suited to Netflix drama than race wins. Top-tier teams don't want another Nikita Mazepin with better branding. They want robots in helmets, precise, unshakable, PR-friendly. Lawson brings unpredictability, and not in the fun, can he grab a podium way, but in the will he bin it into turn 1 again way. Time is not on his side. At 23, Lawson isn't young by F1 standards anymore. He's in the age bracket where drivers either establish themselves or get quietly phased out. And while kids like Isaac Hajar and Andrea Kimi Antonelli are climbing the ranks like caffeinated spiders, Lawson is now back in a B-team car, hoping someone retires early. The F1 driver market is brutal. You either make your impact early, like Russell and Piastri, or you get stuck hoping for a miracle. Lawson had his miracle, and he stalled it into a wall. Let's call it. Liam Lawson is not making it to Red Bull, Ferrari, or McLaren. Not because he's untalented, but because in the biggest moment of his life, he brought a butter knife to a gunfight and asked for directions. He's not a rising star. He's a warning label. Hype responsibly. His 2023 sub-appearances gave fans a taste of promise. A few decent drives, some late-race composure, but they weren't proof of elite-tier material. In 2025, when Red Bull handed him the keys to the kingdom, the spotlight burned hotter, the pressure tighter, and what we got wasn't a Verstappen in the making. It was a cautionary tale. His qualifying pace was miles off. His racecraft lacked that split-second aggression that defines winners. Instead of turning heads, he became background noise in a car built to win titles. And you don't get second chances at that level. Not when the midfield is brimming with hungry younger talent snapping at your heels. He might hang around the midfield, maybe even pull off a cheeky points finish here or there. But the front row, that's reserved for killers. And Lawson, bless his heart, just doesn't have the bite. Want more savage takes like this? Hit that subscribe button and join the F1 Dramas crew. Let us know in the comments, was Lawson robbed or are we just telling the cold hard truth? Either way, the grid doesn't lie.